Hi, my name's DeBorre and welcome to my YouTube channel where we are going to be practicing a slow Vinyasa flow. And today we're going to be focusing on opening up through the fronts of our hips, through our shoulders, taking some back bends. So it's a really nice way to just open up the body, especially if we've been doing a lot of this, maybe sitting down, typing, hunching over, or even just sitting on the couch. It's really great to open the body and we'll feel hopefully nice and invigorated after our practice. But don't worry, invigorated does not mean that we're going to be taking things quickly. We're going to be moving nice and mindfully and slowly through today's practice so that you'll have plenty of time to work on each asana as they come around. We will start today in Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees drop out wide, and you can take any props that you like. Pillows can be really handy if you don't have yoga blocks underneath the thighs, just for a bit of extra support. Alternatively, if that still doesn't feel right and it's not the day to be taking Supta Baddha Konasana for you, then just extend those legs long in front of you in Shavasana. So when you're ready to start, let's get down onto our mat, and we've got the gorgeous Jessie dog keeping us company back here. She's already been for her morning swim, so I think she will be joining us today. So bringing the soles of the feet together and then laying back, letting those knees drop out wide. And we'll just take a few moments to really ground and drop in so that we're ready for our practice today. Your hands can be wherever it feels comfortable, maybe by your sides, face up with the palms, or you can alternatively bring them to rest on your body somewhere and wherever it feels comfortable for you. Doing a quick scan of the body to see if there's anywhere that you're holding tension. So maybe through the face, relaxing those muscles, relaxing the jaw, the shoulders, letting them sink into the mat. And making sure that you're not holding any tension through those hips and legs, really allowing those legs to sort of just flop out. Bringing your awareness to the back body and just taking notice of how it feels for your body to be touching the mat, noticing the areas that it is touching the mat. And feeling the weight of your body as it just sinks down. In our yoga practice, we aim to breathe in and out of the nose as we move. But to begin with, we'll take a few cleansing breaths. So we will breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So if you're ready, exhale your breath. And breathing in deeply through the nose all the way to the pit of the belly. The belly swells, chest swells, and opening the mouth to sigh that breath out. In through the nose, all the way down to the belly, and opening the mouth to sigh it out. Doing that once more, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Just returning back to a steady in and out breath through the nose. Taking the hands to the outer thighs, let's hug the knees in towards the chest, giving ourselves a little cuddle before we get started. And then releasing the soles of the feet to the mat. We're setting up for our bridge pose. So feet or heels are roughly underneath our knees and they're hip distance apart. So you should be able to see the outer edge, just the very slight outer edge of your ankle if you look on either side, and that will be roughly your hip distance apart. And we're going to just start by just tucking our tailbone. So let's lift our tailbone up off of the mat, which is going to engage through our lower belly. And then we're slowly going to raise all the way up of the mat. Making sure the knees aren't splaying out to the sides, they're staying straight. And maybe taking your hands to your glutes to make sure that they're engaged. So they're really fired on here. One more breath. And on the exhale, we're going to slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time, all the way back down to the mat. We'll come through a few rounds of rolling bridge now. So on the inhale, we lift the body. And the exhale brings it back down to the mat. You might like to get your arms into the motion. So the inhale lifts the body, arms sweep back up and overhead. And exhale brings the body and the arms back down to the mat. 3 more rounds. Breath in, lifting up. And exhale to come back down. Inhale to lift. And exhale to return back to the mat. 1 more round. And coming back to the mat, maybe just realigning so that you're in the center. I know that I always end up shifting towards the top end of my mat when I do bridge, and especially rolling bridge. Let's take the right leg all the way up to the sky, flexing those right toes, taking clasp with the back of the thigh, or maybe a little bit higher up if it's within your grasp. But we want to keep our head and shoulders on the mat. You might like to extend the left leg long in front of you. But if that doesn't feel right, then just bring the sole of the foot straight back to the mat. And taking as generous a bend as you like in that extended leg, your right leg. That knee can be bent. Now let's inhale, point the toes up. And exhale to flatten. Inhale to point, exhale to flatten. 1 more inhale to point, and exhale to flatten. Taking some ankle rolls through that right ankle in one direction, and then taking it in the opposite direction. Let's hug that right knee into our chest. And using the left arm, we'll draw it across our body to the left side, coming into our supine twist. So right arm is extended. And making sure we keep that right shoulder plugging into the mat. Maybe taking the gaze over the right shoulder if it feels comfortable on your neck. Coming back through center, let's take the left leg now up towards the sky. So extending that nice and long, interlacing the fingers behind that leg and flexing the left toes towards your shin. You might like to extend that right leg long. Feeling that nice opening up through the back of the left leg now. On the inhale, let's point our toes and exhale to flatten back through that foot. Inhale to point. And exhale to flatten. Inhale to point. And exhale to flatten. Taking some ankle rolls through that left ankle now in one direction. And then swapping and taking it in the opposite direction. Hugging that left knee into our chest, extending the right leg if it's not already. We're coming into the supine twist, so the right hand drags that left knee all the way across the body to the opposite side. Left shoulder stays plugging into the mat and that arm is extended, and you're just feeling that nice opening stretch through the side body. Coming back through center, soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to come through some figure four. So let's take the right ankle on top of the left knee. And if this is enough for you and you're already feeling that opening up through the back of the right hip, then you can stay right here. Alternatively, we can thread our hands through and take clasp at the back of the left knee or the front of the left shin, and just bringing our head and shoulders back down to the mat. Making sure that we're flexing the right toes. And we're really working to draw that left knee in by using our hands to pull it in towards our chest, while we press that right ankle and right knee out and in towards that knee, so that there's this push-pull motion here. We're active. And releasing the hands to let the feet come back to the mat, and let's swap over to the other side. So left ankle on top of the right knee, and taking your option, whatever feels best for you. Remembering that we can be different from side to side, so maybe what you did on one side is not going to work on the other side, should I say. So it might be totally normal for you to be tighter through one hip than the other. In which case, maybe just adjust your grip on the legs. And remembering to flex the left toes towards that shin. And releasing the clasp on the leg, letting the feet come back down to the mat. We'll just simply cross over at the legs, taking clasp with the back of the thighs. We're going to roll up and over into our tabletop. And so coming into our tabletop, our hands are underneath our shoulders and knees are in line with our hips. So really spreading our fingers nice and wide, as far apart as they go, like a little tree frog. And we're really pressing down through all of those fingertips. We'll come through some cat-cow, so breath in, dips the belly, gaze comes up, and exhale to tuck everything under. Inhale to dip the belly, gaze lifts, and exhale to tuck everything under. Inhale to dip the belly, gaze comes up, and exhale to tuck everything under. Inhale to dip the belly, and exhale to tuck everything under. Let's tuck our toes now, and we're just going to walk back to our feet, or hands back so that our butt lands on top of our heels, taking our little toes out towards the side, just coming through a little toe stretch to get those toes nice and awake. And this is a really good stretch to do if you're at home and maybe you're watching TV, you could take this pose for a little bit. It's really good to open up through the toes, especially if you wear shoes quite often throughout the day. And the tighter those shoes are, the more intense this stretch is going to be for you. So just taking another couple of breaths here, as long as it takes me to put my hair in a ponytail. And then we're going to come back to all fours and kick out those toes, give them a little massage. Okay, inhale, right arm extends, left leg extends behind us, left toes are flexed, drawing that belly in and up. Exhale, elbow comes to knee. And inhale to extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. And inhale to extend, making sure that lower belly is drawing in. And exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to extend. And you're either going to stay here. If it's too much for you, you can bring the right hand down. Or alternatively, we're going to bend through that left knee and take the right arm up and over and see if we can take clasp with that foot. Now, if you've got the foot, I want you to really kick into that hand so that the foot lifts up. We're stretching through the front of that left hip flexor. And for stability, you're really engaging that right glute, drawing the belly in and pushing through that left hand. One more breath. And exhale, hands and knees come back down to the mat. Let's take that to the other side. So inhale, left arm, right leg extends. And exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to extend. And exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to extend. And exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to extend. And we're either staying here, maybe bringing the hand to the mat if you need to, or we're going to bend through that right knee and see if we can take clasp of the right foot with the left hand. If you've got that clasp, then we're kicking the foot into the hand, pushing down through the right hand into the mat, drawing the belly in, engaging the right glute. And releasing the foot, not slingshotting it. Hand and knee come back down to the mat. Let's take another round of cat-cow. Breath in to dip the belly. And exhale to tuck everything under. Let's tuck our toes now and push up to our down dog. You might need to adjust your stance to lengthen it a little. Feet are hip width. Taking a little pedal out through those legs. Let's walk our hands now to the back of the mat. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins, flat back. And exhale to fold. Let's ripple up to standing one vertebrae at a time for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once we get here, let's inhale, arms reach up and overhead. And taking clasp of the hands above your head, we're going to engage those glutes. So really turn those glutes on, belly draws in. And we're going to exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up through center. And exhale to bend to the left. Inhale up through center, once more on either side. Exhale to bend to the right. Inhale through center and exhale over to the left. Back through center, and we're going to fold all the way down to the mat. Inhale, half lift. And exhale to fold. Let's walk ourselves back into our down dog. On the breath in, coming up to our tippy toes, and exhale to sink the heels. Inhale, tippy toes, and exhale to sink the heels. Inhale, tippy toes, and this time we're going to walk all the way to the top of the mat, taking little baby pixie steps. So there's no rush to get to the top of our mat. But once we're there, we're going to inhale, half lift, and exhale to fold. Let's take hold of opposite elbows, coming into our ragdoll. And taking a generous bend in the knees if you haven't already, making sure there's no tension being held in the neck. So maybe nodding your head yes, shaking it no. You might like to take a sway from side to side. Releasing your hands down to the mat. Let's inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Arms reach up and overhead. Maybe taking a really gentle back bend, taking your gaze up. And exhale to fold all the way back down to the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to plant the hands, and we're going to step back into our high plank. And just take 2 rounds of breath here. And let's lower the knees to the mat, untuck the toes, and slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Bringing those fingertips now a little bit further back, so the hands are more in line with the ribs, elbows are tucking in, and the toes are plugging down into the mat. Breath in, baby cobra, and exhale to release. Let's do that again. Breath in, baby cobra. Glutes are really engaged here. And release. And remembering our toes are staying, plugging into that mat. Breath in, baby cobra. And exhale to release. Let's tuck back to our child's pose. Big toes to touch, knees come out wide. And remembering that child's pose is always available to you throughout the practice. Let's tuck our toes and come back to our down dog. And we're going to slowly stroll all the way to the top of our mat again. Breath in, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, arms reach up and overhead, and exhale, hinging at the hips to dive all the way forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, stepping back to plank, maybe taking the other leg if you can remember which one you stepped back with last time. And now knees on or off the mat, let's lower all the way to the floor. This time, we're going to take our hands off of the mat, so in line with our shoulders still, and we're going to make little tent hands with our fingers. So we're just plugging through our fingertips, and our toenails are once again plugging into the floor. So breath in, coming up to our striking cobra, and exhale to release. Elbows are pointing up, breath in, coming up, and exhale to release. Breath in to come up, and exhale. This time the left ear and left shoulder comes down to the mat. Inhale back through center, and exhale, right ear, right shoulder to the mat. One more on either side. Left ear, left shoulder back to the mat. Inhale back through center. And exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Inhale back through center. And releasing straight down to the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders and pushing back to down dog, either through child's pose, tabletop, or straight up through plank. Breathing in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Breath in, bend your knees, exhale, pull up through the belly, and let's step or walk to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing arms, reach up and overhead. And exhale to dive all the way back down to the mat, hinging at the hips. Inhale, half lift. And exhale to step back to our high plank once again. Knees on or off the mat, we're lowering all the way to the mat again. And once we get down to the mat, we're taking the arms back by our sides, palms face down. And let's plug those toenails into the mat so that our knees lift off, glutes are engaged. Breath in, head, shoulders, hands come off of the mat. Exhale to release. Once again, head, shoulders, hands off of the mat and release. This time, head, shoulders, hands and feet lift off of the mat. And we're holding. One more breath. And releasing back to the mat. Hands back under the shoulders and pushing back to down dog, whichever way you like, through plank, tabletop, child's pose. But we're all meeting in down dog. And breath in, right leg lifts. And let's exhale, peel open that hip, bending at the knee, taking the right heel towards the butt. Trying to lift that right knee maybe a little higher. And on the next exhale, right knee taps, right elbow. Inhale, shoot it back. Right knee to left elbow. Inhale, shoot it back. And right knee to chest to step that foot between our hands, dropping the back knee, low lunge. Once you get into that low lunge, let's immediately take the hands behind our back and take an interlace of the fingers. If you'd like some extra stability here, you can tuck those back toes. And I want you to think about rolling those shoulders back and drawing that fist down past your glutes. So we're opening up that chest. Left glute is engaged for stability. And we're really pushing that right heel into the mat to also maintain that stability. Maybe you start to bring that fist away from your glutes a little. And you might take that gaze slightly up, but we're not tipping the head back. One more breath. And releasing the bind, we're going to come forward into our half Hanuman. So straightening through that front leg. You can keep those back toes tucked if they are still tucked. And maybe adjusting that leg as I just did to wriggle it forward a little bit. You might need a bit of extra length. Flexing the right toes towards the shin. And we're looking for that roughly hip to knee alignment on the bent leg so that we're sort of directly above that hip. Hands can be at the mat for support. If you'd like to test your balance a bit more, you can take them back beside you, palms face down, or alternatively you can take that bind again. We're going to come back to our low lunge. If you've got the bind of the hands, then you can try keeping that as you shift back to your low lunge position. Releasing the bind if you have it. Arms come up and overhead. And fingertips come down to the mat. Let's keep those back toes tucked. If they're not, tuck them. And pushing up into our runner's lunge. Inhale, beam the chest forward. And exhale, we're going to straighten through to our pyramid. So right leg straightens. And you can either stay high on the ball of the back foot, or you can step it in slightly and bring it to 45 degrees. If your hands don't really reach the mat, then you can have a bend through that front leg. Let's all take our right thumb now and push that into the right hip crease and use that thumb to really push that hip back as we bring the left hip forward. And then just take your hands back down to the mat. Feeling that nice opening up through the back of the front leg. Coming back to our runner's lunge now. So you might need to readjust that back foot. Breath in to beam the heart forward. And exhale to straighten back to our pyramid, staying high on the toes. Let's inhale, beam the heart forward. And exhale back to pyramid. Once more, inhale, chest comes forward. And exhale back to pyramid. Bending back through that front knee, let's lower the back knee back to our low lunge. Arms reach up. And immediately left hand comes forward, right arm goes back into our twist. So remembering that we're really engaging that left glute for our stability here. And gaze can be forward or back. If you're taking it back towards the right thumb, then that's going to test your balance a little bit more. And you can have the back toes tucked here for extra stability. On the next inward breath, the right hand slides down the back of the left thigh, left arm reaches to the sky. So really feeling that nice opening all the way through the front of the left hip. And on the next exhale, we're going to lean forward and hook the left elbow around the outside of the right thigh, bringing the hands to a prayer at our chest, taking that low twist. And let's tuck the back toes now to bring the back leg off of the mat. Wobbles are totally fine. Take your time. Let's bring our gaze to the mat if it's not already and release the twist. Hands come to the mat, stepping back to our high plank. Knees on or off the mat. Let's lower chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or baby cobra. And exhale back to our down dog. Breathing in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Breath in, left leg lifts, and exhale, peel open that hip, bending at the knee, taking that heel all the way to the butt. Making sure that we're not dumping too much weight into that right shoulder, so our shoulders are level. Let's see if we can get that left knee just a little higher. Exhale, left knee taps left elbow. Inhale to shoot it back. Left knee to right elbow. Inhale, shoot it back. And left knee to chest for Vinyasa. Foot steps through, back knee drops, arms raise up. And immediately we're going to take those hands back behind us, taking an interlace, maybe taking the opposite thumb on top this time, and really engaging that right glute. You might like to tuck the back toes for extra stability here as we beam the chest forward, rolling the shoulders back and down. Belly draws in. And we're really plugging down through that left foot for stability, which I wasn't doing then. And if you'd like to take it just a little bit further, maybe bringing that fist away from your bottom so that we really beam that chest up. But we're not tipping that neck back. Maybe keeping the bind or releasing it. We're going to straighten through the front leg into our half Hanuman. You might need to adjust your stance. And we're flexing the left toes back towards the shin. So if you've still got the bind, really drawing that up and overhead. If that's too much though, taking your hands down to the mat for support here. The aim here is really just to open up through the back of the left leg. So we're really making sure that these toes are flexing towards the left shin, especially that little pinky toe. And working to draw that left hip crease back, the right hip a little bit more forward, similar to what we do in our pyramid. We're going to bend through that left knee, coming back to our low lunge. And if you've got the bind, then of course you can still keep that bind. Fingertips come down to frame the front foot. We tuck the back toes and push up into our runner's lunge. The breath in beams our chest forward. And on the exhale, we're going to straighten the left leg into our pyramid. So you might like to stay high on the ball of the back foot or step it in a little and take it to 45. And remembering to take that left hip crease back. So maybe taking that left thumb into that left hip crease just to push it back a little as we bring the right hip point forward. If you do have yoga bricks handy, you can use them under your hands for support here as well. But if not, just take a bend in that front knee. That's totally fine. Bending back through that front knee, coming back to our runner's lunge. So you might need to readjust those feet. Breath in to beam the heart forward. And exhale back to pyramid. And breath in to beam the heart forward. And let's lower that right knee to the mat, untuck the toes, and come back to our low lunge, Vinyasa. Straight away, we're coming into the twist. So right arm comes forward, left arm goes back. Back toes can be tucked here for extra stability. Really engaging that left glute and the right glute. And belly draws in. Maybe taking the gaze towards the back thumb to test your stability here. And on the next exhale, the left hand slides down the back of the right thigh, right arm reaches for the sky. And we're really reaching for the sky here so that you can feel that nice opening all the way through the front of the right hip flexor. On the exhale, we're going to start leaning forward. We're going to hook the right elbow around the outside of the left thigh. Hands come to a prayer, and we use that lock of the elbow to knee to push open into the twist. Maybe taking the gaze down to the mat if it's not already. Let's tuck the back toes and push up into our high twisted lunge. Just one more breath. And hands come to the mat to frame the front foot. Stepping back to our high plank. Knees on or off the mat. Let's lower chaturanga or baby cobra. Inhale to up dog. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And breath in, right leg lifts. And exhale, peel open the hip, bending at the knee. Exhale, right knee comes to chest, and let's step through for our low lunge. Arms reach back up. On the exhale, hands sweep down to the mat or behind for our half Hanuman, maybe tucking the back toes. And inhale back through to our low lunge, arms sweep up and overhead. This time let's take that clasp of the hands again, maybe tucking the back toes, and inhale, let's roll those shoulders back, beaming that heart forward, really taking that fist down the back, past our buttocks. Let's bring those arms out to really open up through the chest. Left glute is engaged, gaze comes up. And releasing, bringing the hands up and overhead. Let's tuck those back toes now, and we're going to push up into our high crescent lunge. I know you've done a little bit of work through those legs, so let's just take one more breath here. And exhale, opening up to our warrior two. So checking that our heels are roughly in alignment. You might need to extend that stance a little bit forward. Shoulders stacking up above hips. And this knee, the right knee, is not caving in. We're working that out towards the side. So the knee is directly above the ankle. Arms are out straight. We're not hunching our shoulders up though. Let's relax them down. One more breath here in warrior two. And on the exhale, let's straighten through the front leg, reverse triangle. Right arm comes up and overhead. Go away, Mr. Bellowfly. Coming back to our warrior two, just for a moment so that we can set up for our extended side angle. So the right forearm comes to the top of the right thigh. The left arm sweeps up and overhead. And we're going to take that arm now back behind us into the half bind. So we're aiming to get those left fingertips into the right hip crease, but if they don't reach there, then just hold that behind the back, and the back of the hand can rest on the sacrum. We're not dumping too much weight into that hand, and maybe the gaze comes up and we really work to open that left shoulder. Glutes are engaged, and even weight through both feet. Making sure you're pressing into the outer blade edge of the left foot. And one more breath here. And let's exhale, unravel those arms back to our warrior two, and instantly take the pressure out of that leg, reverse triangle. Let's set up for our normal Trikonasana. So keeping those legs straight, let's inhale, reach forward for length, and exhale, right hand comes to the inside of the right leg, left arm extends overhead. Gaze can be up to the ceiling or down to the mat, whatever's better for your neck. We're coming back to warrior two now. So lifting the torso, bending back through that front knee. And now taking the hands to heart center, we're going to start straightening through the front leg while we bend the back knee into our Skandasana at the back of the mat. So we're on the heel of the right foot, toes are pointing up towards the sky and flexing towards that shin. Belly draws in and up, and hands can be at the mat for support here. But if they're up, we're really aiming to keep that chest proud. Just one more breath here. And then bringing ourselves into our wide-legged forward fold. So even weight through both feet, taking a gentle pigeon toe of the toes. Inhale, half lift. And let's exhale to fold forward. Taking those fingertips in line with the toes. And bringing just a little bit of weight forward into those toes. Let's inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Inhale, halfway lift, taking a little bend in the knees, taking the hands to the hips, and now using the strength of your core to come up to standing. We're just going to simply bring our feet in together, so maybe heel toe them in, or you can jump in, but we want to come to the center of our mat. And we're going to set up for our dancer's pose now. So we will be plugging down through the right foot. Hands are on your hips for now. And let's bend that left knee, but we want to keep the left knee in alignment with the right knee, but we're bending that foot up towards our butt. Let's take the left hand and grab the inner blade edge of our foot. We'll take the thumb to press down on that little pad below the little pinky toe, and let's just bring our knees back into alignment. Right arm reaches up. You might like to take the mudra with the thumb to index finger. And as we start to tilt forward, maybe a little gentle bend in that right knee is going to be helpful for stability. We're really engaging through the core, but we're kicking that left foot into the left hand. And we're aiming to try and keep those hips level so we're not opening out to the side. And we're not leaning too far forward. But we're really kicking that left foot as hard as we can into that left hand. If you fall out, just come straight back in. And remembering to keep your gaze on one point that's not moving to help you with your stability. So your dristi is locked in. And without slingshotting that foot, let's come back to standing. Ooh. And maybe shake out through those legs a little bit. Let's step to the top of the mat if we're not already there. And breath in, arms reach up. And exhale to hinge at the hips as we fold all the way back down to the mat. Inhale, half lift. And exhale to step back to our high plank. Knees on or off the mat. Let's lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. And exhale back to our downward facing dog. Breath in, left leg lifts. And exhale, peel open that hip, bending at the knee, taking the heel towards our butt. Remembering that we are keeping those shoulders level, so not dumping weight into the right shoulder. Maybe taking that left knee a little higher. And exhale, left knee comes to chest, stepping that foot through for our low lunge. Back knee drops, Untuck the toes and arms sweep up and overhead. Really engaging that right glute here for stability. And exhale, sweeping the arms back as we straighten through that front leg back to our half Hanuman. Palms can face down, and if your arms are lifted, we're really pinching those shoulder blades together. Maybe tucking the back toes for stability. Maybe bringing the hands down onto the mat for some extra support. But whatever we do, we're flexing that little right pinky toe all the way towards our shin. Bending back through that knee, coming back to our low lunge, and this time taking that bind behind the back. Opposite thumb on top, if you can remember which one that was. Maybe tucking the back toes for extra stability here. Belly draws in, left glute is engaged, and we're going to roll those shoulders back and down as we make that little nice tight fist and work to draw it down the back and away from the body. Maybe the gaze comes up. And releasing that bind. Arms sweep back up overhead, tucking the back toes if they're not already. We're going to push straight up into our high crescent lunge. Gentle bend in the back knee. One more breath here before we open to our warrior two and anchor that back foot to the mat. So there's the roughly heel to heel alignment. Back foot is just ever so slightly turning in with those right toes, and left knee is on top of our left ankle. We're not caving in with that knee either. So we can still see that big toe if we look down. Really working to open those hips, draw the belly in. Two more breaths. And on the exhale, reverse triangle. Left arm sweeps up and overhead as we straighten through that left leg. Just taking the pressure out of that leg for a moment and opening through that left hip, which feels nice. And coming back to our warrior two. We're going to set up for our side angle. So left forearm comes to the top of the left thigh as the right arm sweeps up and overhead. And then we're going to take that right arm into the half bind. So searching those fingers around for that little hip crease, or maybe just to the back of the sacrum. The left arm is resting gently on the left thigh and working to open that chest up towards the ceiling. One more breath. Back to our warrior two. And let's straighten through that front leg back to our reverse triangle. Left arm reaches overhead, taking that side body stretch. Let's come back to standing with our arms at a T, setting up a Trikonasana triangle pose. So breath in, reach forward for length, and exhale, left arm comes down. The left hand, the back of that hand presses in to the shin to open up. If you do have blocks or books handy, you might like to use one under your hand on the inside of that leg. Gaze can be up towards the ceiling if that's okay on your neck. Otherwise, taking it down to the mat. And coming back now to our warrior two. Hands are going to come to our heart center as we straighten through that front leg and bend through the back knee for Skandasana. Our butt comes down towards the ground. We are on the heel of the left foot, so the left toes are pointing up. The left kneecap is pulling up the leg, so we're engaging that quad. What's up, Jessie dog? Hello. Oh, you're all wet. That was a mistake. And now we're going to start straightening through that right leg as we get ready for our wide-legged forward fold. So feet are in alignment, maybe taking that just gentle tuck of the, well, not tuck, but we're going to take the heels slightly out, toes slightly in. Inhale, half lift for length, and exhale to fold. Maybe keeping your hands underneath your face or going a little bit deeper this time, and you can take clasp of the back of the ankles or heels, or you can take the pistol grip of the toes. If you're grabbing hold of the ankles or the toes, then making sure that we're drawing those elbows out to the side, taking some weight into the balls of the feet. Let's breathe in, half lift, and extend through that spine. And exhale to draw ourselves a little deeper. Making sure that we're not locking out through those knees, so there's a really micro bend in those knees. And releasing any clasp that you might have of the hands. Hands come to hips. Let's inhale, half lift. And bending the knees, coming all the way up to standing. Let's step our feet together. So maybe a little jump, or we can heel toe those feet together. And coming back to the center of our mat, we're getting ready for our dancer's pose on the opposite side. So this time we're going to be plugging down through that left foot. So left foot plugs into the mat. We'll have our hands on our hips here. And then we're going to start bending through the right leg. So the right heel is coming towards the butt. Our left hand comes to, or a right hand should I say, I'm getting my lefts and rights modeled up. Right hand comes to grab the inside edge of the foot. So we're aiming to put the thumb is going to press into that just pad below the little toe. Once we've got that, making sure that our knees are in alignment, let's bring the left arm forward, maybe taking the mudra, and then we're going to slowly start kicking that right leg into the right hand, and maybe having a bend in that front knee, that left knee for the standing leg is going to help with your stability here. And we're really aiming to kick that foot into that hand, but not flaring that hip open to the side. If you fall out, then just come straight back in. And releasing that foot without slingshotting it. Both feet to the mat, and just maybe dance out those legs a little bit. Take any movement that feels good. Well done. Coming to the top of our mat, let's take one final flow. Let's inhale, arms reach up and overhead, and exhale to dive all the way down to the mat. Inhale, half lift, and exhale to step back to our high plank. Knees on or off the mat. Let's lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra, and exhale back to our downward facing dog. We're going to drop to our knees now and just come back to sitting on our heels. So we will come through one round of Ustrasana, and camel pose, which is can be a rather I guess intense back bend, and I'm recommending that we just take the gentle variation for today's slow flow. But if you're ready and wanting to go into the full variation of the pose, then by all means do so, and do so safely. We're going to just start by coming up onto our knees, and let's tuck those toes like we did at the beginning when we were doing those toe stretches. And we'll take our hands now to the back of our hips. So ideally we'll have our fingers pointing upwards, but if this is really uncomfortable for you, then please just keep the hands the other way, so fingers down. And so just setting up those hands on the back of the hips, drawing the elbows together. And we're just going to slowly take a little bit of weight as we engage those glutes, just a little bit back. So super gentle. Head is staying up. We're not letting that head drop back. Elbows are drawing together. Belly draws in. Maybe leaning a little bit further back. If you'd like to take the full variation, then hands can come to heels. But if you don't know what that full variation is, then please just stay here with me. Really engaging through those glutes. Belly is drawing in. One more breath. And exhale, coming back up to our neutral spine and sitting back down onto our heels, untucking our toes. Let's just close down the eyes for a moment and rest here in a seated meditation. And blinking the eyes open. We're just going to simply come on to our butt any way that is easiest for you. So you might like to just shift your legs off to the side, and then let's swing our legs in front of us. Actually, if you're at the back of your mat like I am, then maybe just wriggle forward to more of the middle of the mat. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together like we did in Supta Baddha Konasana, but we're just going to do normal Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together. Let's interlace the hands and take them around the toes. And breath in, let's really sit up nice and straight. And exhale, let's fold forward any amount. So I don't want you to yank yourself into this pose. I know that you're holding the toes, but don't come any further forward than your body is going to allow. I want you to keep that nice straight spine. And as you can see, my inability to move through the hips is meaning that I can't go down very low. So that is completely fine, just keeping that nice straight back. And one more breath. And on the exhale, releasing that straight back and really curving over. So really allowing yourself to flop in, let go of any tension in the head, neck, shoulders. And coming back up to seated. We're going to extend the legs long in front of us for our forward fold. So maybe just shifting those meaty bits away from the sit bones, and you can have a bend in those knees. I actually recommend it, especially if you've got tight hamstrings. Belly draws in, arms reach up and overhead. And exhale to hinge at the hips to fold forward and over, letting the hands land wherever they might land, so you don't need to pull yourself into this pose. Not the longest hold here, one more breath. And coming back up to seated, we're slowly going to lower down to the mat. So arms extend, let's sit up nice and straight, and let's do one final bit of core work. So we're going to lower to the mat for 10. So lower belly draws in, and slowly for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, touchdown. Great. Now let's bring the soles of the feet to the mat, so knees are bent, and we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. And remembering, if this is enough for you, your reclined figure 4, then please just stay here. Otherwise, taking clasp of your left shin or left knee and coming back, head and shoulders on the mat. Right toes are flexed. Maybe taking some rolls through that left ankle if that feels good. If you're taking those ankle rolls, taking it in the other direction. And releasing the left sole of the foot to the mat. The legs stay crossed, and maybe either keeping them where they are or bringing the right knee in a little bit deeper. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, then please just take a normal twist. We're going to keep our arms out long, so arms to a T. Maybe wiggle those hips a little bit to the right, and we're going to let the legs fall over to the left. Gaze can come over the right shoulder. And coming back through center. Bringing the soles of the feet back to the mat, realigning those hips. Left ankle crosses over the right knee, taking our reclined figure 4, whichever option feels best for your body, making sure the head and shoulders come back to the mat. And maybe taking some rolls through that right ankle in one direction. And then taking it in the opposite direction. Releasing the right foot back to the mat. Maybe taking a deeper cross of the legs. Arms come to a T. Shimmying the hips over to the left and dropping the knees to the right. Keeping that left shoulder plugging into the mat. Gaze can come over that left shoulder. And bringing the legs back through center. And just getting ready for our Shavasana now. If there's any last movements you'd like to take, then please by all means do that, and then come down to Shavasana when you're ready. And everyone else, if you need to grab something warm to put on, or a pillow for under your knees, anything that you might need, grab that before we get ready for our Shavasana. And allowing the feet to drop out to the sides, palms face up. Taking a quick scan of the body just to make sure that we're not holding any tension again. Relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw, letting go of the shoulders, letting them sink deeply into the mat. Coming into stillness. If you'd like a longer shavasana, then please just stay laying down. But if you are ready to get on with the rest of your day, then start to wiggle through the fingers and toes just to bring a little bit of movement back to the body. Maybe rolling out the wrists. You might like to stretch your arms up and overhead, interlace the fingers and take a full body stretch. Like you're waking up for the second time today. And then when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side. Before pressing up to come to a seat at the top of your mat. You can be cross-legged or on your knees, but try to keep those eyes closed down still. Hands can just rest gently on your legs somewhere or in your lap. Spine is nice and tall, so really plugging through those sit bones to grow that spine. Let's all take a deep breath in through the nose. Let's swell the belly and open the mouth to sigh it out. 2 more like that. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Once more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Taking the hands to our Anjali Mudra, palms to touch. And your thumbs might rest gently on your breastbone. Taking a gentle tuck of the chin. Thank you for practicing yoga with me today. It's been a real pleasure. Namaste. Thank you so much. My name's DeBorre, and if you liked this yoga practice, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit like below, feel free to leave any comments and suggestions for future classes, and I will see you on the mat soon. Namaste.